Folks, I watched Ahsoka. Was it yesterday? It might have come out yesterday. I think it was a Tuesday that it came out, actually. So a couple days ago. Um, Star Wars. I'm not a big Star Wars person. I would say my top Star Wars things are probably Andor, The Last Jedi, and Empire Strikes Back. So you could you can probably tell the kind of fan I am after listening to those three picks, right? Um, I'm not too much into the Mandalorian side of things, but I was interested, and I am interested in Ahsoka a little bit, mostly because I guess it seems like an interesting character, right? The Ahsoka is this alien that looks very much like an alien, a humanoid alien, but still an alien, and she's very she like stands out of all the main Star Wars characters, right? Who are just plain all human, pretty much, right? So that's one thing that she's got going for her, right? It's also a female-led show with a lot of female characters, which is typically an interest to me as someone who wants to see more gender diversity on my screen, you know. Um, so that got me interested. I didn't. I'm not a. I don't really watch the animated stuff. This show takes place, I think, after Return of the Jedi, which is the last of the original trilogy from the 80s, 70s and 80s. Right? And then it takes place after the prequel series too, right? Because Ahsoka in the animated series, the Clone Wars, where she's introduced, I believe, takes place after Attack of the Clones, which is the second movie in the. So, right. Okay, I'm trying to get this all together in my head because it's been a while since I've thought about where everything fits in to Star Wars. I guess the last time I thought about it was Andor, which wasn't that long ago, but still. It gets confusing, doesn't it? Well, I haven't watched any of the animated shows, so I don't really know too much about Ahsoka the character. I know she was a Padawan for Anakin, who becomes Darth Vader, of course, Anakin Skywalker. Um, she's kind of anti-Jedi in a way, or like she thinks the Jedi aren't doing the right thing, and she's a good guy, a good character, but not lawful good, I guess. I know she's a bit rebellious, right? Um, so that's kind of what I know about it. And so this show, Ahsoka, kind of follows specifically from the anime show Rebels, and which had different characters in it. And some of those characters appear here in live action for the first time. And I think I did watch like maybe a scene from Rebels, and I have watched a few episodes of Clone Wars just to check them out. But it never grabbed me. It never like motivated me to keep watching. I guess I don't know. From what I saw, it was just a little bit too Saturday morning cartoon for me, right? I don't know. But this series actually feels like a more Saturday morning cartoon, just in live action, and maybe slightly aged up demographic wise. Like I feel like older teens would really be into this, and that, I mean, I think that's kind of like the audience, right? They want to get the young audience, whether it's older teens, 20 somethings, and then the people who maybe like the prequel series, I imagine, is what they want their demographic to include these people at Disney. These asses at Disney who don't want to pay their writers and actors a fair wage. But it's not quite adult like Andor, you know? Andor, I feel like, was specifically targeting, people who don't really like Star Wars and want an actually serious political, gritty drama about some rebels in a war far, far away, with some characters that could have been plucked out from other like premium cable prestige dramas. Here's a little more action. Ahsoka has a little more action. It's okay, it's cool. But it's only the first couple episodes, and it is a bit of a slow burn at the moment. So we'll see where it goes. It's definitely better than from what I saw of Obi-Wan, the show, which I did watch, but it was one of those where I like started watching and kind of lost interest, and by the final episode I was kind of like multitasking and not really paying attention. And so this might become one of those, but I hope it doesn't. I hope Ahsoka captivates me enough to really be into it. These first two episodes convinced me that in the sense that to keep watching. I'm gonna keep watching, and I actually might rewatch these first episodes because, like I said earlier, my attention didn't drift off later on, particularly in the second episode. So I'm probably gonna have to rewatch this if I really want to do a full critique on this, which I may not do. Maybe one of those shows where I watch and I put that on the back burner for to have that knowledge of like, oh yeah, I've referenced Ahsoka maybe in a future video review of Andor season 2, for example, which may happen in the far future whenever that gets released. I don't know, but it's good to anyone such as someone like me who likes to keep up with what's up in the TV space, movie space. There's like certain shows and stuff you want to watch, right? Even if you're not planning to analyze or fully discuss them. And that's what these chatting sections are for, really, right? That's why I'm doing this, just to kind of like get some thoughts out and hone my analytical skill in preparation for better thought out videos. But enough about me. Ahsoka. So let's get into some spoilers, because I think you've gathered the gist, right, of what I've been how I feel about it so far. It's okay. It's okay because I kind of like some of the characters, although the lead Ahsoka is kind of, she needs to grow on me a little more. I feel like she had a little more energy in the episodes of Clone Wars that I watched. So I'm not sure why she's so stoic all of a sudden. maybe I think Rosario Dawson's portrayal is a little bit more low energy than her animated counterpart. And I think Dawson, yeah, she showed up first in that was it Boba Fett or Mandalorian? One of those those two shows just kind of blend together, don't they? She appeared there with a digital version of Luke Skywalker. Oh, and that was a trip, wasn't it? But we're not talking about that. We're talking about Ahsoka. So I'm gonna go ahead and put up the spoiler tag, just in case anybody is afraid of spoilers. Big red letters, spoilers, spoilers. Watch out for them, spoilers. So episode 1, we start out in space and we got this whole like text scroll here. It's not quite the 3D version that goes into the screen from the movies. So that's a little different, right? They might have done this before on some other show, but I can't recall. And it's all red too. It's kind of menacing, right? It kind of gives you this foreboding, menacing feeling, right? It's very Sith coded, black and red against black. And that is indeed what's going on here. The Sith are invading this ship here. And these are kind of cool characters, right? They're not bad. They have he's got a good visual look. He kind of looks like if Obi-Wan Kenobi went to the dark side, right? That's totally goth Obi-Wan Kenobi. Obi-Wan from the original trilogy. Not Ewan McGregor Obi-Wan. And also, so they come here and rescue this witch apparently, which is pretty cool. One thing I like about this whole segment of the universe right now, of the Star Wars universe, is they introduce witches in the Clone Wars. I think they introduced witches. Like, let's have some more cool like fantasy elements, introduced in our Star Wars. Why not? Like, let's have some witches. Let's have some elfish people. I don't know, something spice up a little more. Because I mean, Star Wars has always been considered like fantasy sci-fi. So let's lean into that more, right? Why not? And there's also like a young woman who's with him. She's pretty cool. But then we get to Ahsoka, and I'm like, let's see where this goes. This kind of has some Indiana Jones vibes. She's going to get some artifact, and she battles some aliens. I mean, not aliens, robots. And then, but again, she's kind of like, she wasn't that bad here. I think later on she's a little bit more stoic, but it was just like, I'm not really getting to know her very well right now. Like, I want to get to know Ahsoka a little more. I feel like we're not quite there, so I'm not quite sure how I feel about her as a lead in this show right now. And then we got this other alien character. I think she's called Hera, and she is played by none other than Mary. What's her face? Mary Elizabeth Winstead. She's pretty cool. Ramona from Scott Pilgrim, 10 Cloverfield Lane. She's been in some stuff. She's pretty cool, right? And she does decent as this alien character. But again, we don't get to get to know her that well. Really, the character that really steals the show, I think, in this episode and the next, really is Sabine, right? Is it Sabine or is it Sabin or is there something like that? I think it's Sabine. And oh wait, I'm going backwards now. This must be her, right? Yeah, like her character was interesting. I feel like she has some motivation. She wants to find this Ezra character who apparently is from Rebels. So this is kind of like a reversal of the typical story of fantasy story where the male lead has to find this this princess, right? So this is kind of cool. Again, this is like the third major female character so far. It's pretty cool. Pretty. I guess the witch was another character, but of the good guys. So it's like this feels like a girls' night out in a way. This whole show, which is nice to see, versus everything else, right? That we're seeing from Star Wars. Even like Rey in the sequel trilogy was like, she was the lead. That was pretty cool. But everyone else around her were these dudes, except for that other young woman. I forgot her name. But anyways, you know what I mean. So this character, I don't know too much about this Edward character, and that's the thing. This is a slow burn, because if you haven't watched the animated shows, like myself, I haven't watched anime shows really hardly. You're kind of lost at like, what is going on? Who is this Ezra character? And I don't necessarily want too much an explanation right away, but we'll see how far they go into it. Are they gonna find him in this season? Are they gonna keep the slow burn and just prolong the whole thing for several seasons? Like what's happening? What's going on? Like how so we're still in that early stage. And here's the cool Sith character, a new Sith character. It's always fun to see the new dark side Jedi or dark side Sith baddies, right? They always have an interesting design typically. She seems to be connecting with the older generation right here. They can team up. That could be interesting. The older witch character here. And then I think it ends. But before we get to that part, I do want to take a look at this one scene where, is it here? It must be around here. Yeah, where Sabine is running from the cops? Are these cops? That's the thing. I was wondering, like, these look like highway cops, right? Like she's running, she's on her motorbike or speeder, air speeder, what you call it? I don't know what you call it. Trying to get out of the city for some reason. I was kind of not sure. Maybe I should have been paying more attention, but I'll probably watch this at some point. My kind of idea is to kind of watch it every week, and then before the last episode, make some time and kind of just rewatch it and binge it all, kind of in a matter of a few days. We'll see. I mean, that's what I would like to do. Who knows if that happens? But anyways, this was a cool scene. This is probably my favorite scene of the two scenes. But it also got me questioning, like, what do cops mean in this world? They're supposed to kind of represent a kinder version of cops, I guess, versus the stormtroopers, or this is post Empire, right? This is post um, Darth Vader and the Emperor or whatever taking over, and the Empire ruling all the galaxies, etc., etc. So this is like post that big old war, right? So they like let her go pretty much. They're kind of like friends with her too, like, or they know her by name, you know. So it's kind of like a small town vibe here, of like these like cop characters who, you know, maybe they can consider them more military. I don't know. Is Sabine part of the military? Or I thought she was like a rebel, right? I mean, she's doing rebellious things, and she was in that Rebels show, which I didn't watch. But you know, they know her by name, and they kind of expecting her to stop, and they're surprised that she keeps on going, and she like does this cool maneuver by going underneath one of the speeders or one of the cop cars, and then he kind of just nods at her and lets her go, you know. So that's not quite representative of an oppressive police force that, you know, takes any means necessary to hunt down and possibly shoot down some runaway speeder, you know. So I guess we're in like a more chill place at the moment now, and in terms of Star Wars history, a peacetime in a way, you might say. But then there's this growing force of Siths out and about, trying to, I guess, find Thrawn or something, who's some big baddie, you know, positioned to be like, I guess, the Darth Vader of this era, or the Emperor of this era, one of those. And my player's kind of frozen here, but whatever. So, and then the thing is that she comes back like the next day or whatever, and everything's okay. Like they're like, "Oh, hey, Sabine, how's it going? Where were you? You were supposed to be here." And like, based on her escape, I thought maybe she was like in exile or something, or she wanted to like escape and possibly not come back. But she was accepted as if it was just like her little stunt was just like a reckless kid, you know, going on a joyride or something. I don't know. It was just like treated like not a big deal, which I thought was a little bit odd. But again, I guess we're not in this oppressive police state where people like Sabine would be drawn and quartered, you know, drawn and quartered. Maybe I can restart this this player here. Maybe I gotta recapture it. Okay, so like I said, she goes through this, she comes back, and everything's okie dokie apparently. And then she talks with Ahsoka, and I guess she's training under Ahsoka now, Sabine. So now Ahsoka's become the master and Sabine the student. Is that what's going on? And pretty cool. Everything's okie dokie, I guess. And then we got this whole fight at the end um, like the new blood, Sabine against the new blood on the dark side. I don't know what's this character's name with the red lightsaber. I forgot, but pretty cool. And the fight was decent, and it was the cool thing of, and it ended it quite eventfully, right? I didn't quite expect her to be stabbed through the gut there, pretty much. You know, of course, she survives and all, but it seems like a pretty deep wound, right? Seems like a pretty bad wound. She gets hospitalized, so you know, not a bad start. Not a bad start for the series. And then we go to episode 2, and the baddies are over there. She's back in her. I guess the baddies are like trying. Oh, this was last week's preview, whatever. I guess the baddies are trying to like gather their forces, right? The witch, the goth Obi-Wan, and the Targaryen girl. And then Sabine, she's getting fixed up, patched up. And around here is when like I kind of was multitasking and doing other things. So this is pretty cool. I kind of want to watch this scene again, right? Look at this. I imagine they're figuring out like, okay, we got the map to find Thrawn or something. And she's being a cool witch and stuff. That seems pretty fun. Oh yeah, there's the whole plot about this guy who's like kind of he's a business guy. That was pretty interesting dialogue there. He said, "I'm a businessman. My responsibilities are to the shareholders or whatever, or my investors, something like that, right?" So this was a critique on big business people and the capitalist CEOs who are only concerned with their greed, their money, you know, and their investors for their investors to make more money. And he gets caught as working with the Empire, right, or a sympathizer of the Empire, and doing some bad shit. So it seems like we're still on good tracks here. The Empire's still getting even the little bits that are left are getting eradicated, right? But looks like Ahsoka's kind of uncertain about the future still. What's going on? We'll find out. So yeah, some more table setting stuff. There was this cool sequence that I kind of was paying attention to, right? Some kind of action here. A good amount of action in these first episodes, you know? So if you're looking for that, if you're looking for some action, this is probably the show to go to. And I guess she cuts her hair here and she like puts on that armor and she's ready to fight. She's ready to go take down these last bits of the Empire that are crawling around the universe, right? I think she's like a Mandalorian or something. I don't know. I thought Mandalorians can't show their face. Maybe she's a ex-Mandalorian. Like I said, I haven't watched the Rebel series. I don't know. Who knows? You might know because you might have seen all this stuff. And this is where I feel like, okay, here's where the show's going to begin now. This is just the intro of these first episodes. So it might be beneficial to wait until they're all out and then watch them all. Possibly. So, you know, decent start. We'll see how it goes. I don't know if I'll talk about each episode as they come out. We'll see. Maybe I will at least do my thoughts on the final episode in this first season when that, I think it ends in October. One thing that got me like I was thinking about watching this again. Is like, yeah, this is a show about focused on these women heroes, really, right? And so that's pretty cool and all. And I like the diversity of it. Like, there's aliens, different types of aliens. There's the goth. There's the and there's this rebellious young woman here. Typical rebellious figure, right? She's like doesn't do what she's told. I guess she's kind of like the what Ahsoka was when she was younger, right? So maybe that's the thing, is that's why Ahsoka's now wiser. She's like in her 40s or whatever, and she's like she's calmed down a bit, right? So maybe that I shouldn't have expected her to be so plucky. um and now Sabine's like the in her footsteps. She's following her footsteps, right? Or she's like in her place. We'll see how that develops. But one thing I was thinking about was like, that's cool and all, but when are we gonna like see some gender fuckery around these parts? When is it? When are these sci-fi stories, fantasy stories, really gonna explore gender expression? When is that gonna happen, huh? Like, has there been any male hero in Star Wars who wears makeup? Maybe there's some side characters that do that I've noticed, but I feel like we could see more of that. It's just an idea. I would like, why not? Let's explore. We have there's aliens everywhere. There's robots, but there really isn't that much gender expression beyond the binary going on, is there? Beyond the, not too much, right? I mean, we've got women who are doing traditionally masculine things in this world. Like, there's mechanics, there's warriors, etc., scientists, all these things that are empowering. And they're all pretty much action heroes, but in the sense of like appearance of their expression, it's still mostly feminine, right? I guess not everyone, but I was thinking like, why haven't? I mean, I just think about this a lot, whether it's Star Wars or any other property, but I guess that's just something I would like to see more of. More various genders in the galaxy, right? Gender expressions. Non-binary, trans, men wearing makeup. But I think Disney in particular is a lot more focused on maintaining some sort of gender status quo, because they feel like their audience would probably not accept a bunch of drag queens running around in Star Wars, would they? I don't know. If you do see a drag queen in a Star Wars vehicle, then it probably will be in the background, I don't know, just a thought. Anyways, those are my thoughts on Ahsoka. We will be revisiting Ahsoka at some other point, but right now we are going to take a break.